Three-time Stanley Cup champion Darren McCarty, the golden voice of Neal Ruhl, and the iconic Terry Foster. Sit back and relax. It's time for your daily dose of Big D energy.
Yo, welcome back, everybody. Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. My name is Neal Ruhl. That guy over there is Lindsey Hunter. We got Sam Flannel in the house. We do have a substitute player in the game today. JB Smoove in the place of Spencer Raxter. JB Smoove, what's going on, man?
Hey, nothing much. Just trying to hold it down for Spielman while he's handling some business. So hopefully I don't mess this up.
All right, yeah, that would be my first piece of advice. Don't mess. This is a finely tuned machine. This is Lindsey.
It is, and we hope he doesn't go to jail for that traffic ticket.
Yeah, absolutely. So Spenmo is not with us today because he's fighting the law right now. He got a traffic ticket. Spenmo will have his day in court, and that day is today. Oh, so Lindsey, it got me to thinking, like court stories and stuff like that. So I've been called for jury duty 3 times in my life. 3 times. My wife has never been called for jury duty. And I was so petty and so bitter about it the last time I got called in there, I went up there and told on her. I was like, you guys have never called my wife. I'm here for the 3rd time. You guys have never called my wife. What's going on with this?
Hey, I don't know, but I remember I got called once. And I had I was still playing. I was like, I got a game.
Did they let you slide for that or
Yeah,
no?
they let me slide.
Did they really?
Yep.
They didn't call you back?
Nope, never been called back.
So the jury duty people, get my wife and get Lindsey Hunter and make them do their civic duty for the people. Look at you getting out of that. I got a game.
But how unfair is that to call total strangers in for jury duty? What's the purpose of that?
We the people, Lindsey Hunter.
We
the people.
We know nothing about what's going on. And we're in here about to help judge somebody.
About to judge somebody, exactly. What about you, Sam Flannel? You do your jury duty?
Of course he did.
I have never been called into jury duty. I don't know how I've avoided it.
Because they've heard your takes, and they're like, get this clown out of here.
Well, you know what? If that's how they feel, if it helps me get out of jury duty, and I'm not even mad. I ain't even mad.
Yeah, so good luck to Spencer Raxter. He's talked about name dropping and things like that. Alicia says a jury of our peers. Exactly, Lindsey, a jury of our peers.
Yeah, I guess.
JB Smoove, how about you, man? You heed the call?
I actually have never had jury
Am I the
duty.
only one in this place?
I'm sorry, Neal.
Yep.
Because I go 3 times. 3 times. Sandy, have you done it? You got twice?
Twice.
Okay. This year? Okay. So Sandy's here hanging out watching the show. Okay. Oh, so they cut you the break on it, but I have been called 3 times. I will say this: I only got actually called to a case once.
Okay.
So, but even that I got dismissed. So that was the way that it went. Dos Burrito says you got called 1 time for each furnace. Well, I only have 2 furnaces, but I got called to jury duty. 3 times. Dirty Dr. D says Spenmo better name drop DMAC for call Sam.
right.
So he's connected, and certainly he could probably get to that. Big Dan Davis, Woodward Sports. Neal, what are your thoughts on Lions hiring former coach Dre Bly as their new cornerbacks coach? And we can discuss, it's good on paper, I guess, and stuff like that. Always good to have a Pro Bowler, I guess, in the room, right, Lindsey?
Yeah, I like Dre Bly. I like Dre Bly.
It's cool, dude. Yeah.
Yep. And hopefully, I don't know if it's his first coaching job or not.
Yeah, he was with North Carolina for a little bit.
That's right.
Yeah, he was on staff down there.
That's right. So maybe he'll do a good job. I mean, he was a good D-back.
Right.
I liked him as a D-back here in Detroit, especially.
Yeah, and yeah, he was a Pro Bowl player, so certainly that is something. Pistons fan 11, imagine Adam on your jury. Could you imagine that?
I would be if I was the person on trial and Adam was in my jury, I would just put myself in handcuffs right away.
Yeah.
It's over.
They're taking it away now.
Pete Smith says, I've had jury duty twice. Both times it was brutal. The parking, having people try to befriend you, the making $15 per day to be here, leave me alone.
Exactly.
I bet. Justin says, I've lived out of state for 9 years, and Michigan has called me 3 times in that time. So, there is that. Paul Thomas says, Adam on jury duty. He's guilty, and he's being an effing a-hole.
That's funny.
Yeah, so, Jeremy Anderson, hey, Neal, Cameron Maben, Todd Jones, a part of the Tigers broadcast team. And, yes, that news has just dropped this morning as well. So the Tigers did move on from Jack Morris. Todd Jones, certainly entertaining media guy. I bet he's going to be pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. I've seen him a couple of times watching baseball, but everybody does something. You got to do something different, and people change all the time, and we've witnessed a lot of changes. So
right, and then Cameron Maben obviously has been kind of grooming too to do that job. So yeah, it'll be exciting to see that, and so we're just kind of chopping it up right now. Spencer Raxter. 9 Drink says, if you say you don't believe in our justice system, you get let off of jury duty. I'll keep that in mind for the 4th and 5th time.
Right,
I don't really believe in the system at all. Why am I here?
Right. That's funny.
Oh, man. Yeah, I like it. But, yeah, so good luck to Spencer. We hope things work out. And, again, state of Michigan, my wife, Sylvia, it's about time she does her civic duty as well. So I'm just saying. What?
You're ratting her out, man. That's so low.
100%. I walked right up to that desk, man, and said, "This is my 3rd time here." I guess there's just us and there's just us, as Terry Foster would say.
Right,
So that was it. I know that national media was running wild about this. You see Jerry Jones' remarks about Dak Prescott?
Yes, I never miss a Jerry Jones remark because they're just outlandish at times.
They are, and he's out there talking about we're strong on Dak, and Dak Prescott is our guy for the next 10 years. And I'll tell you this, as a Detroit Lions fan, which most of us are, good. Sign Dak for 10 years. Sign him for 20 years. Keep Dak Prescott forever. And in every big moment, he'll continue to do what he does, and that's throw interceptions and cost the Cowboys games, because that's what Dak Prescott is about. So Jerry Jones, keep him for a decade, 2 decades, 3 decades, whatever. And then the Detroit Lions, as they're on the come up, they won't have to worry about the Dallas Cowboys at all. So good job, Jerry Jones. Do it. Do it.
Well, I just, I think we all are overreacting with Dak. I know.
Are we?
Yes, we are.
Okay, you speak your piece, then I'll tell you why.
So this year Dak had a awful turnover year, right? He was bad.
Yeah, like all the time, right?
I wasn't. The year before, how was he?
In the playoffs?
Period. I mean, we beat them in the playoffs, so I mean that doesn't matter.
Right.
But he wasn't as bad as he was this year, right? Am I right?
He had his best regular season statistically.
Yeah.
Booyah. So
how was he in that playoff game, by the way?
He led the team to 17 points, which is not enough, and then ran out the clock basically by running that quarterback sneak and not be able to spike the ball on time.
Huh, weird. Okay, go ahead.
Pretty on brand.
Pretty on brand, exactly.
Yeah.
But proceed, Lindsey.
So you're going to give, let's just say, since you got, does everybody agree he's top 10? Top 12?
He's anywhere from 9 to 13.
Okay, top 10.
Something like that.
So top 10.
Sure, he's in that tier.
So you're going to give up a top 10 quarterback to go out and possibly for an unknown commodity that you don't know is going to be as good? That's what you're telling me?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying I want Jerry Jones to sign him for 10 years.
No, I know what you're saying.
That's what I'm saying.
But in saying that, you don't think he's good enough to sign, to keep.
No, he's good enough for the Lions to have the Cowboys have him as their quarterback, because what is he going to do in every big moment, Lindsey?
I mean,
more turnovers in a bakery, man. Every single time.
He had some turnovers
a turnover
this year.
Factory.
But so everybody thinks that Russ is having an outlier year. Right?
I don't. I think that's what he is.
You think he's fell off the cliff?
I think he's cooked. Yes.
You think he's fell off the cliff?
I think he'll bounce back a little bit, but I don't know if he'll ever be what he was when he was like prime Seattle Russell Wilson.
Right. So is this year, that's who we think Dak is. We think Dak is this turnover machine.
I don't know if he's this turnover prone, because this year this was the worst turnover season of his career. I mean, Dak Prescott, you can win games with him. You can make the playoffs, and they've consistently had pretty strong rosters, good running games, good offensive lines, defenses, but I don't know. I don't know if you can go all the way with the Dak Prescott. This year, leading them to only 12 points at San Francisco, and last year, leading them to only 17 points at home against San Francisco in a playoff game. That's missed opportunities.
No, those are just good defenses that, held him to 12 and 17.
Man, it really seems to happen every time around him, doesn't it?
Well, he plays San Francisco. It's one common denominator in that factor, and it's San Francisco.
Maybe
that's just.
Well, the GOAT Patrick Mahomes didn't have a problem. Put up 21 in the fourth quarter in the Super Bowl against him, right, Sam Flannel?
That did happen.
Yep, and our quarterback was Jimmy Garoppolo, so, hey, we didn't have a fighting chance.
All right, let me ask you this question then, because it's a hot topic of debate in the woodwardsports.com chat thread. And remember, you guys can jump in there and get your thoughts about where you're at. If you got to sign one for 10 years, you signing Jared Goff or Dak Prescott? Sandy says Goff. woodwardsports.com chat poll there, Mr. JB Smoove. You got to give a 10-year contract. You giving it to Goff or Dak Prescott?
Ooh.
Yeah, right. It's not like that's a
tough one right there. I guess Dak?
There you go. One for Dak. Let's go.
Man.
One for Dak.
Woodward Sports, let's put it on the chat poll.
No, honestly, God, this is really, really tough. They're neck and neck. I would probably go Goff just by a hair. But
why?
Goff. They're so close. and I think a lot of it is recency bias. I mean, Jared Goff obviously had a better season last year. He had a great season with a second team. He proved that when he got away from Sean McVay and went to Ben Johnson, he could be pretty much just as good. So I would take Goff by like the slimmest of margins. Give me Goff for the next 10 years over Prescott.
woodwardsports.com chat thread, the early reaction is that the people are leaning towards Goff. The mobility, people are talking about the mobility, how the mobility will fall off with Dak Prescott and those types of things. I just, Motown Cool, if you had 10 years of Dakota, you're looking at 150 interceptions. Dakota, by the way. I don't know what it is that makes me pop when someone calls Dak Prescott Dakota.
That's not
But
right.
it does. Well, they named him. Like, his
know.
parents named him. Don't
I
laugh
know,
at us,
I know.
Lindsey.
Yeah,
Don't
but
laugh
you're
at us
making
for
fun.
laughing. No, we're not making fun of it.
Yes,
it's
you
a
are.
factual statement. His name is Dakota. It's a factual statement. When I hear someone call him Dakota, I chuckle.
You laugh.
I do. You do too.
No, I don't. I smile.
Dakota.
I smile.
Dakota
I'm
Prescott.
smiling.
See what I mean?
Do you guys want to laugh even harder? It's actually much worse than Dakota Prescott. His first name is actually Rain. R-A-Y-N-E.
Yep, I read that.
Rain.
Yeah.
Rain Dakota Prescott.
Rain Dakota Prescott.
Yep.
That's pretty bad.
All right, he's got on woodwardsports.com chat poll right now. 10-year contract for Goff or Dak. Goff, 83% out of the rip. That's with 50 votes instantly.
We're in Detroit,
We're
so
in Detroit. It's biased.
it's a little biased, but like I said, I would take Goff by the slimmest of margins. Dak, he's had opportunities, especially the last 2 years, didn't get it done, especially last season when he had such a great regular season and lost at home to a wild card San Francisco 49ers team. I'm not saying he's trash or anything. I'm just saying that was a missed opportunity. You got to admit that.
Absolutely it was. Alicia says, wait, his name is actually Dakota? Seriously? Well, it's Rain Dakota Prescott if you want to get down. Brandon Cat says, Dallas had the number one offense in the NFL last year in the regular season. Yes, that is true. And in the playoffs, his team scores 17 points. That's just the way that it works.
Well,
with them.
some part of that is coaching. Part of that is play calling. Part of that is not all. You can't put all that on Dak.
No. I can
Right?
put the interceptions on him, though, because he's the one that throws them.
Yeah, some of them. But some of those interceptions were, some of those interceptions, and they went back and showed a bunch of his interceptions. Some of them were receivers bouncing off of receivers' hands and all that kind of weird stuff. A lot of weird stuff happened to him this year to increase his interception. I'm not saying all of them were, not his fault, but it was a lot of weird things that happened that added to his total.
What do you think about this, Lindsey? Mike G says, Meta World Dakota Prescott.
Stop.
Which one's better, Rain Dakota Prescott or Meta World
Neither
Dakota
one.
Prescott? No, you have to pick one. Meta World. I think Meta World Dakota Prescott sounds better
Yeah, then Rain. Oh, yeah.
than Rain Dakota Prescott.
Yeah.
So you can admit it.
Nah.
We're not making fun. We're talking, man.
It's okay. It's okay.
There's not malice in my heart for it. Like, We're just talking about the guy's name, Dakota. Dakota doesn't sound. You have to be a linebacker if you're going to be named Dakota, I feel like. Because when you're a quarterback and you're named Dakota, like, it seems soft. But if you're a linebacker named Dakota, that's different.
I don't know. He's a good quarterback, though. I'll take him over Goff.
Especially on a 10-year deal? No. The people, Jared Goff, 84% of the vote, Lindsey.
Bias. We're in Detroit. Of course we're going to take Goff.
Is Lindsey Hunter a better guard than John Stockton? 248.
No.
I'm
a better defender.
See, there you go. There you go.
I'm a better defender.
You're getting how the game works, man. Goff's younger too, by the way.
That's crazy. He's younger than we all think he is.
Right.
He seems like he's been in the NFL forever, but was he 20? Maybe 28 next year?
Yeah,
that's insane.
So he is younger. So remember that. But yeah, got a big time show lined up for you guys. Do want to talk about Duce Stanley leaving the Detroit Lions, and this could be something I think people have to get used to. If you want what you say you want with the Lions, this is going to be something that's going to become the norm. Just like if you have a big project, I know the norm is Alta.
Absolutely, because at Alta, uptime matters. Alta Equipment has everything you need to get the job done. It's winter, so I know you got that bog project. Everyone's got a bog project, but if you do, Alta Rent has you covered. Call them today at 844-GO-TO-ALTA. That is 844-GO-TO-ALTA.
As chilly weather approaches, Big Boy's got the perfect comfort meals for you. Try our hearty classic meatloaf or our creamy Cajun chicken Alfredo. These will be sure to leave you craving for more. How about breakfast? Our stuffed potato pancakes are back with our lumberjack, blockbuster, and Santa Fe Garden. These potato pancakes will definitely fill you up. Whether it's for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, come stock up on the perfect comfort meal today. We'll see you soon at Big Boy.
I'm Dr. Jason Olafson, DC, the founder of the Custom Health Centers, and we've helped thousands of people learn how easy it is to lose weight and keep it off with our customized weight loss and body contouring programs.
With Custom Health, you don't feel hungry, you eat well. My name is Simeon Timbuk, and I've lost 71 pounds on the program.
Call us at 844-789-THIN or visit CustomHealthCenters.com for a free consultation and get started for as little as $5 a day.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side.
Lemieux and McCarty, who've had a good knockdown drag up. There they go, right on the whistle. They were talking to one another.
Woodward Sports.
The Fulling Warehouse in Hamtramck, the football bowling pin game called Fulling. There are two ways to play: $12 unlimited open play or $120 lane reservation for up to 10 people. They have a full bar and a $2 mystery beer machine, which is really cool. And you can bring in any kind of food you want. No hassle, no fuss. So if you want to check them out, go to the Fulling Warehouse or visit them online at fullingwarehouse.com.
We're off and running. Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. Neal, Ruhl, Lindsey, Hunter, Sam Flannel here in the house. We got JB Smoove, my guy, as well, in for Spencer as he fights the system, fights the power. You know, goes to the local court system to have his day in court, which he has promised as an American to fight his traffic ticket. So you know what? Good luck to you, Spencer Raxter. Godspeed, and hopefully you don't get any points on your record. If they offer you a cash buyout, just take it. Take it and keep them points off the record. That's how I would operate.
Right. Oh, no doubt. All the time.
The old impeding traffic, $150. Buy your way. Be like Big Earn. Buy your way out of anything. But we are off and running. Mike G says at least Dakota doesn't wear those short John Stockton shorts.
What?
Lindsey, our audience has it now. It's the Dakota Prescott show, and we're going to have to navigate our way through that as the day goes on. Like Gromit 0237, North Dakota Prescott or South Dakota Prescott? Which one would you rather be? WoodwardSports.com chat.
This is taking the life of his own, man.
North Dakota. Which one? Which were you more partial to, North Dakota or South Dakota, Lindsey?
I don't like naming anybody after directions because that's what Kanye did. So I don't do anything that Kanye does.
That's a good start, right? That's a good start. I'm a little more partial towards South Dakota, I guess.
Yeah. Doesn't Kanye have kids named North and South and East and West?
I know North. I'm not too well versed on Kanye West's kids, but I know North because that was a pretty big deal.
He started naming people after direction, so I was like, I'm against it.
Robert Closey says my sister's named her daughters Montana and Liberty, and Jeremy Anderson says Rain sounds like a kicker or a punter's name. Kool-Aid Kid, Bison, Dakota, Prescott. Okay, guys. And it's just gonna keep going. So
it's Groundhog Day. It's
just gonna keep going. South Dakota looks better. All right, we're getting Dakota power rankings going. Duce Stanley leaving the Detroit Lions to join the Carolina Panthers staff with Frank Reich. Has not been reported exactly what the role will be. I would imagine OC's got to be in play to some degree. I'm not saying that he will be the OC or anything like that. However, maybe it's one of those things where OC is in the future there, where it's kind of laid out. I don't know. But the moral of the story is this, Lindsey. If the Lions are going to go where we think the Lions are going to go and end up where we think they're going to end up, this will be the norm. And people better get comfortable with it because this is how it's going to go down. And much like it's next player up, Lindsey, and you've been a head coach before in the NBA.
Yep.
You lose coaches. That's the nature of the beast. So it's next coach up.
Yeah, and the thing about it, if other people are coveting your coaches, that means you're doing a good job. You have some good coaches. You have quality coaches. People don't want people that they don't think is good. So if people are taking coaches, trying to lure coaches away from your coaching staff, that means you have some quality coaches. So that's not a bad thing. It's just you don't have to replace them, but it's not a bad thing.
Right. And look, I know that people get like flipped out about it and stuff like that. Like, no, we can't lose them.
No.
Coaches don't worry about that stuff. Be honest with me, Lindsey. I'm under the impression it's not a huge deal to actual coaches. It's a bigger deal to fans than it is coaches because you have connections with coaches across the country. You are confident to make that phone call and have somebody slide right in, right? I'm talking you personally.
Yeah, absolutely. It's it's the nature of the business. People on the outside look at it a little differently, but it's the nature of the business, and we know it as a coach. You may have a guy that you love and he's doing a great job for you one year, and the next year you look up, hey, they're offering me a better position, more money. He has to go, and you have to move on.
And you encourage it too, like as a head coach.
I think as a coach, you have to be that way. I tell when I was a head coach, I tell my assistants, if you don't want to be a head coach one day, then I don't want you on my staff because I want you always working towards being better. I don't want you to get complacent and think I'm here and I'm going to stay at this level. No, you have to push yourself to get better because you're going to make me better.
Right, and get a tree going.
Absolutely,
you got to have a tree going. Right. WoodwardSports.com chat thread. Dom Rivera 88 Northwest. I think Northwest was Kanye's kid's name. Chuck Brewer says Neal, keep reading them and we'll keep spitting them out. That seems to be how it works. People are big on Mount Rushmore, so South Dakota getting a lot of run in the WoodwardSports.com chat thread. So everybody, everybody's leaning towards South Dakota. Ransom says, I'm sure that Carolina asked about him, and yeah, it's something where that's the way it works. And Dre Bly comes in, people go out, Dre Bly comes in. Again, it's just the way this stuff's going to work, man. And we haven't noticed it. Here's the deal, like with Lions fans. We haven't noticed that because this is where coaches go to die typically, professionally. Hey, name a Lions head coach that's gone on to be a head coach somewhere else.
No.
I'll wait.
No, you're right.
Go through time. Sam Flannel, you're big on this stuff. Go through time.
I can't name one.
You can't name one because this is where coaches go to die. That's factual.
That is factual. And in sort of a backwards kind of way, maybe Lions fans should be happy that we have coaches like a Duce Stanley who other teams want. Duce Stanley probably looked at that Carolina rushing attack that put 323 on our defense and was like, I want to go coach those guys. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, Duce Stanley, I think in Hard Knocks we all kind of see how passionate he is. We saw him kind of coaching DeAndre Swift hard, and I would say the running backs, especially with Jamal Williams, were one of the strengths of the team. I mean, Jamal Williams had the first 1,000-yard rushing season since Reggie Bush. He has a record for rushing touchdowns in a season that was previously held by Barry Sanders, which I still don't think people understand how baffling that is. So Duce Stanley did do a good job, but that means he's probably going to get a higher position in Carolina. He's not going to have a lateral movement. I mean, I don't know. Even though they killed us, I wouldn't want to coach Chubba Hubbard and Deontay Foreman over DeAndre Swift and Jamal
Oh,
Williams.
they'll
So,
get you 300 yards and a half.
hey, that's why that was so baffling. I still can't believe that happened. But, hey, I'm happy for Duce Stanley. We want our coaches to move on. I mean, we'd love to have them here forever, but that's fantasy. That's a pipe dream.
WoodwardSports.com chat thread. You guys, man. Dirty Dr. D. Don't rain on Dakota, you guys. Doughboy Steve. Purple Rain Dakota. All right, get it out of your system, guys. All right? Get it out of your system. Brandon Katz, Carolina's a horribly run franchise. Tepper doesn't know what he's doing. That he's a hedge fund manager making football decisions. And, yes, that's it. But when you go out there and you hire Frank Reich, it's not like Tepper's naming the running backs coach.
Right.
That's a Frank Reich operation.
Absolutely. Jerry Jones is the only one that controls all the coaches.
And it's going to give Dakota a 10-year contract, and Lindsey Hunter's excited about that.
Right.
So that's what it is. Go ahead, toss it. There we go. There we go. All right, just a little mid-show pen flip there. But yeah, Real Cream of Wheat says Dick Duran. He wasn't a head coach here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like when you're a head coach here, you never work as a head coach again. Go throughout time. Look at it. You think Matt Patricia is going to be getting any head coaching jobs?
No, and if there was to be one, it would have been Jim Caldwell. He hasn't even got one. He had one before, but once he came to the Lions and didn't even do a bad job, he hasn't gotten one since.
Yeah, absolutely. Alicia says Jim Schwartz. Yeah, never a head coach, though. He's kind of settled into his coordinator's role. It was funny, too, talking with some people that were with the Lions around that time. Schwartz got real caught up with everything else. Who the PA announcer is, what the PA announcer's saying, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, like he was really, really focused on stuff outside his lane. Let's just say it like that.
The one memory I have of Schwartz is when they played the 49ers, and I think Harbaugh gave him a hard slap on the back or something. You remember that?
I do.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that was the funniest thing ever.
Hey, and I think that Jim Schwartz kind of endeared us to him as Lions fans, but at the same time, I mean, Jim Schwartz, his trajectory was actually up. Same with Jim Caldwell, and they both went down, and they haven't been head coaches since. I mean, I guess Jim Schwartz did the next best thing, be a defensive coordinator on a Super Bowl team, but that's not a head coach.
Right.
No. WoodwardSports.com chat there, Pistons fan 11. I was at Handshake Gate, so people were in the building. Brandon Katz also says Schwartz was horrible. The Lions have penalty issues every year with him. You know what else they had, though? A historically great rushing defense. I believe the 6th best rushing defense in the history of the 16-game era. Ever. Yes. Which is why I speak so adoringly of Ndamukong Suh all the time. Because, they haven't had that since he was here.
No, he was a monster.
Yeah. So, it's just one of those things, and I'll always go back to it, too. There was a fight on the field till Ndamukong Suh stepped up. Then folks got real quiet real quick. They didn't have a lot to say at that point. Let me tell you about the Sports Marketing Agency. They help spread awareness about mental health and substance abuse. Their new podcast is called This Is the S Word. It's a series about fighting the stigma that's associated with seeking help. Go to thesportsma.com if you're struggling. If somebody you know is struggling, thesportsma.com, the Sports Marketing Agency, they're here to help.
3 NBA championships. Detroit fans were there. 11 Stanley Cups. Detroit fans were there. 4 World Series wins. Detroit fans were there. And that one Lions playoff win in 1991. Yeah, Detroit fans were there. Woodward Sports, where the fans are.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1, what's your why? More epic energy, better sleep, blow off steam? Step 2, join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3, bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
You have an opinion? Make sure it's seen and heard. Corner, jumper. Tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media.
Neal Ruhl here for Bedrock Detroit. Downtown Detroit's decked out all winter long with the return of the Cadillac Lodge and the Monroe Street Midway. The Midway has a giant slide, winter bumper cars, an indoor arcade for the kids, and the adults can grab drinks at the Lodge before or after Red Wings or Pistons games downtown. You can shop, eat, and play downtown. Go to deckedoutdetroit.com for all the details. Off and running, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network, Neal Ruhl, Lindsey Hunter, Sam Flannel, Spencer Raxter, not here. He is in court fighting the system, standing up for the little guy everywhere, arguing against his traffic ticket. So hopefully he gets out of that. We will see. Are we going live and local to the courtroom? See how it's.
We should.
We should. Can we get Spencer Raxter? Can we get it? Can we get the trial televised? Can we go court TV on it? Can we get a legal analyst? Can we get somebody on the scene?
That would be nice if we could. I don't know how the court systems allow phones in there, but I can hit him up, see if he can, sneak us a little bit.
Do we know where he's at? Is he at Royal Oak? Where is he?
I do not know where he is at currently, but I can shoot him a text, see what's going on.
Yeah. Tell him we need details, man. Where do we sit right now? Is the jury deliberating? Did the officer show up? That's always a good one when the officer doesn't show up and everything gets dismissed.
You're off.
Yeah. So we just want to see how it works out. We want to see how it works out for him. Jamcat, the WoodwardSports.com chat thread. You know what? I've been meaning to talk about this for a while. It says, Neal, do you think Chris Spielman gets enough media respect that he deserves? And I know that's kind of like the romantic angle of it. Chris Spielman comes back, and then boom, they have a winning record in all of that. It's just, for me, it starts and ends with Brad Holmes. Because forever, Lindsey, all I've ever asked is to not have drafts like they had 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, basically for the last 15 years, right. To not have drafts like they've had. And Brad Holmes shows up and gets, 7 starters in the first 2 drafts, 8 starters in the first
awesome job.
Impact dudes.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? That's why, for me, I know it's fun and it makes you feel warm and everything like that, and it's a great story. But for me, this is all singularly on Brad Holmes to me. It is. Now, by default, you have to go to the people that hired him, right? That isolated him and said, we need to draft people. He was part of maybe one of the better drafting teams that we've seen in the last decade. So it's a great story. Whatever role he had in getting Brad Holmes here, he should be commended for. Right. But to me, Lindsey, this is a Brad Holmes production. Period. End of story.
No, yeah, he's the puppet master right now. He's making all the decisions, and he is doing an outstanding job so far. So, but that'll always happen, The guy that picked the guy,
right,
tends to get credit also, which they deserve some credit also. But the guy that's making the decisions, he's the man, and Brad Holmes has been doing an outstanding job, and hopefully he continues to do that.
WoodwardSports.com chat thread. Pistons fan 11, get Ermanni to send Fox 2 out. We need live and local coverage. We need a man on the street right there. As Spencer Raxter, Mike G. Spenny's in the courtroom calling everybody, quote, a pig, and quote, the man in court right now. I think that would hurt his ability to get out of this ticket if he were to do that. That'd be my crack legal analysis. Andrew Klingerman says, starts with Campbell also. He's the one building the culture and the coaching staff. And yeah, Andrew, look, both things are true here.
Right.
And you are right. But here's the thing. And Lindsey, I'm going to corner you right now, and you can't get out of this. You have to answer. Are you a better coach with talent, or are you a better coach with, culture in the locker room? Because you don't get culture in the locker room if you don't have talent.
Talent trumps everything. You know that. You and I talk about that all the time. Talent trumps everything.
So gotta have the dudes.
You gotta have the guys. You gotta have the guys. And I think I told you this. I said Steve Kerr was awesome when he had KD, Steph, Clay. I said as soon as those guys left and everybody got hurt, and they didn't have those guys, they went from first to what?
The second pick in the draft or whatever it was. Yeah. And it is for me. It's just. You need the players, man. You need even the coach. The coach has to have the players. And that's why this is a Brad Holmes production, man.
Right.
When you boil it all down. Now, it takes a little bit of everything. I understand that. And Dan Campbell's got to coach, and he's got to hire the staff and all those things. But you got to have the dudes, and they're getting the dudes.
Hey, that's the first part. If you get the talent, and then you can put the onus on the coach to make the talent work. But if you know you got the talent, that makes everybody's job easier. And I always say, talent and winning hides a multitude of sins.
Hey, winning's the best deodorant, man.
Always.
Look, have you been in winning locker rooms that maybe weren't the best of friends, that maybe weren't the most cohesive? I would contend the more you win games, the more alpha personalities you have, the more problems you're going to have.
Dude, I was in the Laker locker room.
I wasn't going to ask you to name them by names. You did that. But since you talked about
in the
it,
Laker locker room.
Kobe and Shaq
But the crazy part, nobody was really friends there. Everybody went their separate ways because Hollywood tends to make people think they're stars. So I witnessed regular guys like me walking out with bodyguards, and I'm like, why does he have a bodyguard? What are you doing? But
you get caught up in it.
They got caught up in it.
Yeah. You never had a bodyguard, Lindsey?
For what? What I need that for? That's crazy. But I've been in locker rooms when you have that type of talent, all the other stuff, it's kind of doesn't matter. Now, on the flip side of it, the Pistons locker room I was in was the absolute polar opposite. We were like family. We were like a bunch of brothers who held each other accountable, who, didn't care how you felt about what I said, but as long as you got the message and you're going to be all right with it. So it was polar opposite.
Yeah, it's just for me, like the Lakers locker room that you described, they won. So nobody cared.
No, nobody cared.
Nobody cared that the locker room was crappy. It's just winning, and you win with guys.
Right. See, people magnify the faults of a team when they don't win. So now it becomes, because that's the way they can get rid of the coach. Hey, we have a culture problem. We got some bad guys. These, when you're winning, everybody's like, oh, he's not that much of a problem. He's okay. He's a little quirky. And so that's the reality of sports.
Coming up later, we're going to do like a double dose of the Ask Lindsey, because people are even firing away questions right now, and we get tons of them. So I think we're going to do like a double dose of the Ask Lindsey, but I'm going to put this one right here, right now, since it's relevant to germane to the discussion, if you will. Mike G. Lindsey, did you ever hire a bodyguard to help you protect against John Stockton after you choked him?
Stop it. Why would I need a bodyguard for that? I can handle that.
From that little guy?
Yeah.
Cute little guy with his little shorts and all that, his high usage and his gaudy stats.
Hey, man, I boxed for 10 years, so I can handle mine. Shout out to my boy Scotty Buck. That's who used to train me. Scotty Buck, yeah.
Were you nice in the boxing ring?
Scotty said I was.
Yeah?
Yep.
You still do it at all or not?
Scotty used to box with the Tony camp, James Tony.
Oh,
camp.
James Tony? Lights out?
Scotty taught me a lot, man. I love boxing, actually.
I do too. Boxing's that thing that I get to be a fan of, and I don't have to know a lot about it technically.
Yeah, it's trust me, man. Learning from Scotty and being in the ring, that's the longest 3 minutes of your life.
No doubt.
You think 3 minutes is short. You get in a boxing ring and you have no one to blame but you for getting knocked unconscious. So so you have to be on your P's and Q's, man. That sport, that's serious.
Yeah. So everybody with your Ask Lindsey stuff, we're going to do a double dose of it, about 12:38. We're going to get into it, and we'll ride it as long as you guys want to do it. So we'll hook it up. I will get to them all as best I can. Sam Flanagan, where are you at on that? Because I know you're not about the romanticism necessarily all the time, unless it's Patrick Mahomes, and you are. But where are you at with that? Because I know like Spielman gets a ton of credit, and if you say and I'm not saying I'm against that. I'm just saying that for me, it's all about Brad Holmes because he's the one bringing the dudes here that can play that we've never seen before.
Well, the reality of the situation is, imagine if the Lions had drafted like a Trayvon Walker or somebody like that, and then in the 3rd round got some nobody like Alex Carter in 2015. In the 6th round, they got a guy like a Jeremiah Ledbetter or a Brad Kaya. Those were 2017s. Not exactly those players, but
Brad Kaya.
Right. Like, but
and you know what? Real quick, too, before we get into that, the whole draft a quarterback at the end of the draft camp. Remember those names.
Yeah, no, those are terrible names. So Brad Holmes hit on picks in this past draft that you're not supposed to necessarily hit on. You're not supposed to have a 1 3rd round and 2 6th round parlay of Kirby Joseph, Malcolm Rodriguez, and James Houston. That's not supposed to happen. And if those draft picks don't happen, if the Lions say don't get an Aiden Hutchinson, we might be talking about Dan Campbell as fired after this season, because no matter what, his first season was 3-13-1, and it was trending towards him getting fired, and they ended up turning it around. But that was because of the talent that Brad Holmes was able to draft, and obviously the coaching staff was able to develop, and they get a ton of credit for that. But if you don't have dudes, if you get like nobodies in the 6th round or the 3rd round, if your 1st round draft pick is a bust, it doesn't matter. Your team's going to lose, and it's going to be the GM's fault. He should get most of the credit and most of the blame when it doesn't work out.
And that's why, for me, it's the baseline, man. We can talk about the coaching, and we can talk about the people in the front office and all that stuff, man. The guy that sends that card up to the podium is wholly responsible for what happens to the team. They just are. And when they get it right, you win games. And when you win games, the culture's good and everybody's happy and everybody's making an impact and all those kinds of things. And when you lose games, you get fired.
Yeah, unfortunately, the GM is probably the last guy that gets the blame, though, because it's the coach first.
Well, they're the most easily replaceable, right?
Exactly.
There's just one of you. There's 12 players in basketball. You know, that's the way that it tends to work out. So, you know, it's just, for me, I'm always going to lean that way. And I was big on the Brad Holmes hire because of the resume. I'm a big resume guy,
right.
And here we are. And you know, certainly Spielman, whatever part he played in it is to be commended. But the guy in the arena that's dropping off the card, he's the man.
Yep.
Tell him about haircuts, Sam Flannel.
Absolutely. We get him at Lady Jane's, of course. Come to Lady Jane's for an award-winning experience and register for a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to win a down payment for your dream home up to $200,000. Lady Jane's open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
You don't have to go to the beach, man. You don't have to get your butt crack full of sand. You just need a little chili peppers, man, to get that glowing beach chili peppers tan. Woo!
With 26 locations in the Metro Detroit area and more coming, Chili Peppers Tanning is where you'll find the cleanest salons in the D. Join the Pepper Club for the best deals on unlimited tanning. Head to chilipepperstanning.com.
You just need a little chili peppers, man.
The Sports Marketing Agency would not be who we are without great community partners like Higuera Health and Carol Zaniga.
It's an awesome opportunity to partner with your organization. Higuera Health is a comprehensive behavioral health organization. We serve children through older adults with mental health, substance use, and developmental disabilities across Western Wayne counties, and really excited to now be in downriver communities as well. Give us a call at 734-458-4601.
We are the network for Detroit by Detroiters. Welcome to the Woodward Sports Network.
Join Big D Energy and Ermanni and Edwards with Maz this Friday, tomorrow, from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the grand opening of Matrix Home Solutions in Plymouth. Come check out all that Matrix does and have your chance at winning great prizes plus autographs by Braylon Edwards and Darren McCarty. See you Friday at Matrix Home Solutions in Plymouth. The address is 41303 Concept Drive in Plymouth, or check them out at matrixhomesolutions.com.
Back at it, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. Neal Ruhl, Lindsey Hunter, Sam Flannel, JB Smooth with a V on the end of it, in for Spencer Raxter, as his freedom is in the hands of his peers, is what we're being told right now. Go to Court TV. Live coverage of the Spencer Raxter traffic ticket hearings are going on. The helicopters are outside the courtroom and all of that. I did want to talk about this because social media went nuts about this. About the Senior Bowl Hendon Hooker going over to Lions personnel and talking to them and all that kind of stuff. So everybody lost their mind about Hendon Hooker and the Lions and those types of things. Not interested, Lindsey. I'm not interested at all. You have Jared Goff here for 2 years, friendly number, no exit penalty, very little exit penalty if you do want to move on. If you and look, Hendon Hooker's over there, and I'm sure he's a very fine person. I don't disparage that. And he had it cooking. He had that huge knee brace on. He's like 26 years old. Like, people talk about Stetson Bennett. Hendon Hooker and Stetson Bennett both are going to get pensions from college football. Like, they were that old. I think he's 25, actually.
Right.
But anyway, like, I believe, and I've always said this, if you're taking quarterbacks, and a lot of people, like Spenmo had on the sheet here, would you take Hendon Hooker in the 3rd round? Which I laugh at to the point where I totally dismiss that and don't even introduce it as a topic. Don't even introduce what?
No,
what?
I don't necessarily hate the idea of taking a flyer on a Hendon Hooker in later rounds. I know we just talked about how Brad Kaya didn't work out, and I understand that. But Hendon Hooker, one thing I like about him is at Tennessee in the SEC for 2 seasons, 58 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. I like the fact that he doesn't turn the football over, and he had success in college. And who knows, maybe he'd be even higher up of a prospect if he didn't suffer that injury.
But he did. He did.
I know.
But he did. You see the size of that knee brace he has to wear?
And he is 25 years old. He's almost as old as Jared Goff.
Thank you.
I understand. I wouldn't be pounding the table if it happened, but I'm also, I don't know. He's kind of creeping a little bit into Brandon Whedon, Chris Winkie territory. He's not there yet, but man, I'm not going to dismiss it outright. I think he's a guy that could be a good quarterback in this league.
Yeah, Randy Briggs says if he was healthy, he's going 2nd to 4th, so he won't be there past the 4th. Then I'm not interested. Because if you take quarterbacks in the 6th round, with the exception of one ever, you're basically crumbling up that draft card and throwing it in the garbage, Lindsey.
That's what the
stats,
the history says, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know. I still think you would want a young quarterback in that quarterback room. And from watching what happened this year in the NFL, a lot of quarterbacks were getting hurt every single Sunday. So I don't know how you go about doing it. Do you get one in free agency, or you take a flyer on a young guy?
Why do people get so worked up here about the backup quarterback thing? Because let me let you know a little secret. When your quarterback gets hurt, you're cooked.
No doubt. But that's why people get so distraught about having a backup. It's not going to do you much good, but at least you have some type of security blanket. Nobody runs through 4 quarterbacks. That was a rarity. You saw the 49ers.
Right.
We were down to shucks. We were about to put the kicker in to try to.
Christian McCaffrey was a quarterback.
Yeah, Christian McCaffrey was about to be the quarterback. So things. You just never know. You never know, but it's always good to be prepared.
Yeah, it's just for me when you're going to take, and it's different, right? It cuts different in this situation with this guy because I'm not taking Brad Kaya when I can take James Houston. I'm not taking Brad Kaya when I can take Kirby Joseph or Hendon. I'm not taking Hendon Hooker when Hendon Hooker can be Kirby Joseph. I'm just not interested.
Now, if you don't have one of those guys, and you see a prospect that probably is higher on your list, then you do that. But if you can get a guy, you go get a guy, right?
Yeah, and here's where it is too. In MMS 1346, here's where it all boils down to me. Why are you trying to draft a player in the top 3 rounds that can't help you in 2023? Just get a decent vet who will actually play. And that's where it is. That's where I am with it. Right under that, Patty Grimes says if you lose your starting quarterback, most of the time you're done. Bingo. If Goff goes down, you're cooked anyway.
No, that is very, very true. But I think with Hendon Hooker would be, to me, the type of backup that you would want. And I'm not saying you draft him for the backup. He might end up being the quarterback of the future. I don't want veteran guys like a Tim Boyle or a David Blau or a Sean Hill.
Taylor?
Right, well, yeah, probably not him either. That have no future on the team, that are just kind of career backups, like a Chase Daniel or something like that. But Hendon Hooker, like I said, I don't hate it. But this is another one of those situations where the wheels are kind of spinning in real time. I'm also thinking about how well Brad Holmes has drafted starters in later rounds. I mean, we could name them off all day. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Kirby Joseph, James Houston, Malcolm Rodriguez, Aleem McNeil even. So I trust Brad Holmes implicitly.
As do I.
I just don't think that we can just completely write off Hendon Hooker, especially if you could get him for a good value. I don't hate it.
See, I do, because I think you're throwing that draft pick away. Now, again, if Brad Holmes comes out there and says, I believe in him, that's different.
Well, let's think about your the golden child, Mahomes.
Yes.
So he was drafted. They had a starting quarterback, right? KC had
Alex Smith.
Alex Smith, who was, a relatively...
He's a Pro Bowl quarterback there.
Pro Bowl quarterback. Alex Smith had a great career. And they drafted a guy that a lot of people kind of coveted. I don't think nobody thought he was as good as he is. And I actually watched some footage of people killing him during the draft.
Yeah, well, Andy Reid did think that he was that good.
No, Andy Reid and what's the coach that just got the job in Denver?
Sean Payton.
Sean Payton was trying to move up to get him.
Right.
So two great quarterback minds actually thought the kid was going to be what he is, right?
Yeah.
But not many other people thought that he would be the next of the coming.
WoodwardSports.com chat thread. MMS 1340, Let's Go Red Wings Sparty. Only if the Kentucky quarterback isn't there at 6, right, Neal? And he put the name out there. I don't say his name.
No, that I would pound the table if that happened at number 6.
Dude. Why are they hyping him up? I'm trying to figure this out.
Thank you.
I sat here in this chair, Lindsey. And
Mel Kiper, man.
I sat here in this chair, Lindsey. And I was one of the people that said, hey, this Saturday, I'm going to do it. You probably remember this, Sam Flannel.
Yeah.
I said, I'm going to lock in for this game, and I'm going to watch Florida with Anthony Richardson and Kentucky with Will Levis. And I'm tapping in, and I'm going to watch it. And they both suck. And it was awful to watch. And I had to get into the Elijah Craig barrel-proof bourbon by the second quarter of that game, just to take my mind to another place.
Right.
Anything to get away from what I was watching. And then I said, you know what? I'll be realistic. I'll give them another shot. I'll tap into Tennessee, Kentucky, and I'll watch it. And he was worse.
Of course, it was Tennessee.
He was worse.
Tennessee doesn't even have a good defense. That's the thing. Will Levis's stat line in that game, 16 for 27, 98 yards, 0 touchdowns, 3 picks.
Oh, good.
Spencer Rattler in South Carolina was able to put up 63 on Tennessee. So that means that Spencer Rattler's team put up 57 more points than Will Levis's team against Tennessee. That is just beyond pathetic. And not to mention, Will Levis's team, Kentucky, gave Vanderbilt their first SEC win since 2019. While going 11 for 23 for 109 yards, 0 touchdowns,
What is
1
it with this
interceptions.
guy?
I don't get it.
It's Mel Kiper, man.
But even people at this network, like Maz, for example. Let's.
That just seals his fate. Now I feel bad for the kid.
Maz says what? That he's a fan?
I mean, just that they'd be okay with it. I mean, I even hear it.
What?
I even hear it on the morning show with like an Adam Beydoun. That doesn't. I mean, they're not necessarily for Will Levis, but
they're not against it.
I mean, he's got a lot of measurables, but he doesn't.
What does that mean?
I'm not saying I agree with it. Look at the tape. He
has measurables. What?
I mean,
he has big hands. Man, he has a strong arm.
They're trying to.
Oh, but he's not accurate.
I think Josh Allen has kind of I think people are trying to find the next Josh Allen, but Josh Allen is kind of a once in a generation.
Yes.
Yeah.
What is the matter with the people at this network?
No, it's bad. I hate this guy.
Dude.
No. I've never understood it, and I'm not trying to necessarily throw them under the bus or anything. I've just heard them say that.
No, throw them under the bus.
What is wrong with you people?
Start up the bus.
No.
What is wrong with everybody here?
I don't know.
I thought we had a good thing going here. You know what I'm saying? I thought there were people. I thought we had dudes. I thought we had talent.
Hey, man.
What do they see? How? Why? Based on what? Based on what performance?
I'm telling you, man, Mel Kiper has the power. Whatever he says, people start to...
Why?
I don't know. I'm not one of those
He's
guys.
the Will Levis of draft people.
Exactly.
You know what? I got to consult my guy JB because he works on the Ermanni and Edwards show with Maz every day. Has Maz said this before? I'm not just imagining it, right?
No, you're correct. Maz has said this before.
I have to have a conversation
Maz in
with
general just says we need a quarterback. And I say we as in the city of Detroit for the Lions. We need a quarterback. He doesn't care when you take him, who it is, but they need a
quarterback for
right
what?
now.
They have a starting quarterback.
Okay.
They have a starting quarterback.
He doesn't.
That's in the Pro Bowl.
He doesn't like Jared Goff. He doesn't care for Goff.
What, he doesn't like all the yards and all the touchdowns and the few interceptions? He doesn't like it?
No.
Doesn't like him based on what?
He just doesn't care.
He just doesn't care. Just quote, doesn't care.
Yeah, he's a New Yorker. You know, hey, as long as he doesn't want the kid from Kentucky, I don't care who else he talks about. But
Sean Danker says Neal needs some Elijah Craig barrel proof right now. I do. Like a half a bottle of it.
It's so sad that you actually gave he who should not be named a chance.
Twice.
I think we all did because coming into the year, we kept hearing about him. But if you tapped into the Florida and to the Tennessee game, yikes. And especially if you tapped into the Florida game, you got to see he who should not be named and another he who shouldn't be named, and Anthony Richardson. My God, that took quarterback play back 20 years. I wouldn't touch either of them with a 10-foot pole if I'm a GM.
DJ says flag football Pro Bowl stop. No, it's not that. It's the numbers.
Right.
It's the numbers were Pro Bowl worthy. They were. So I don't know what else the guy can do for you guys. Like, especially too at a manageable salary, at a discount to market based on his production. That's factual. You can say what you want. Sam Flannel, mark me on this. He is a discount to market based on the way he played the position last year.
And he had arguably the best year of his career. Definitely since 2018. He was a deserving Pro Bowler. You could argue that he was the second best quarterback in the NFC after Jalen Hurts just this year. And I don't think a lot of people would fight me on it. Jared Goff he had a great season. By the season he had last year, he was a discount to market. I agree.
All right, I'm going to regather myself here. I'm going to tell you about Cintron, and then I'm going to gather myself, and then we're going to come back strong for the second hour, everybody, okay? I think that's what we're going to do. Cintron World's an aspirational lifestyle beverage brand. They have a line of sparkling flavored energy beverages and premium bottled water. Cintron is fashionable, functional, and fun. If you're looking for premium ingredients, long-lasting energy, balanced hydration, essential vitamins, and of course, great taste, then Cintron is your top choice. So why wait? Buy online. Go to drinkcintron.com. Also available on Amazon. Live that prime life. Have that stuff dropped off on your porch. It'll make your Ring alarm thing go off on your phone and everything like that if you don't have it muted. But, that's cool because your great-tasting Cranberry, Classic, and sugar-free all are there at your doorstep, courtesy of Amazon. DrinkCintronWorld.com. Drink it. Live it with Cintron.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Golf, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids, all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
What's a winter wonderland if you can't shop, eat, and play? Lucky for you, you can do it all at the Downtown Detroit Markets, Cadillac Lodge, and the new winter version of the Monroe Street Midway, all located just across the street from Campus Martius Park. Find the fun at deckedoutdetroit.com.
Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit. We are the network for Detroit by Detroiters. Welcome to the Woodward Sports Network.
Neal Ruhl here for Custom Health Centers. Our own Ryan Ermanni is on his journey right now. He's ripped and got a six-pack already. Now we're just playing a little bit, having some fun with graphics. But he is down 15 pounds during his time with Custom Health Centers. They have over 20,000 success stories. You can be one too. They've helped many professional athletes lose weight and improve their life. Detroit Lion Eddie Murray, the Pro Bowl MVP, by the way, place kicker. You'll never see that again. Detroit Piston Rick Mahorn, the NBA champion. He looks terrific, too. Just saw him last week in New York. You can start losing weight today. Call Dr. Jason and Custom Health. 844-789-8446. Again, that's 844-789-FIN. It's Custom Health Center. Pulling up on the second hour of the show here. Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network, Neal Ruhl, Lindsey Hunter, Sam Flannel, JB Smoove in the house. We are waiting to hear sentencing in the Spencer Raxter traffic court case that is sweeping the nation. TMZ is outside the courthouse. We are waiting for the live report. And you can tell. You see their parking enforcement just roll by behind Lindsey Hunter here in Birmingham. Everybody's on edge, waiting for the outcome of the trial that will swing the world one way or another, Lindsey.
Absolutely.
It will. So MW says, if Tone had a face. I'm sorry, guys. This is a hill I will die on. And you know what? I will say it. You guys know I'm a Brad Holmes simp.
Right.
Self-admitted. I'm cool admitting that. If he goes with that dude...
He won't do that.
I know he won't.
He won't do that.
But if he did,
you're off the bandwagon.
I don't know how. It's one of those things, like, we can give you these theoretical discussions where people do that all the time.
Right.
What would you do if this happened?
Right.
No one's ever given an honest answer.
No, because you don't know what
because you don't know what you would do.
know.
And I can unequivocally say I do not know what I would do if Brad Holmes took that dude from Kentucky. I don't know what I would do.
I would be convinced that somebody stole Brad Holmes' identity or something, because it would be that off-brand. Especially, you'd have to get him at 6. That would be... I would pound the table. I would lose a hell of a lot of faith. But I can't even fathom a scenario in which that happens. I'm kind of like you, Neal, where it's just... it doesn't even enter my brain.
No, and it doesn't mine either. But just for entertainment's sake... I'm telling you guys the truth. Again, I'm not like some other people. I sit in this microphone. I will not lie to you. Everything I say is truly how I feel.
Right.
I usually like to think it's well thought out, well researched, and from a basis of some type of factual standing. I do not know what I would do. It would be interesting to see. I don't want to see it. I don't want to know it. But, who knows what would happen. Jake Wegener says, is Spence the biggest court case since OJ? Maybe. It's up there. It's got to be, right, Lindsey?
Yeah, let's see. What? Yeah, it's got to be the biggest thing since. Maybe.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It has to be. Chief says it's quota season, Neal. I don't know about that. But yes. Let's go Red Wings Party. They're live streaming Spencer from the chopper cam right now. He's in a white Bronco trying to escape. Bob's Big Boy says, and this is real, Jared Goff will be the 16th highest paid quarterback by August 1st. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Discount to market.
He was a better than 16th best quarterback in the NFL.
What do I have to do, Sam, to open these people's eyes to this?
I think there's still a little bit of cognitive dissonance where we saw what Jared Goff did last year, especially at the beginning of the season. It wasn't good, but ever since he sort of teamed up with Ben Johnson, getting a higher role, and then being his offensive coordinator, which he will have for another season, he has proved a lot of people wrong. I think a lot of people were sort of ready to get rid of him, thought he was no doubt just a bridge quarterback and we were going to get another one in an upcoming draft. But Jared Goff, he balled out. He had, I believe it was the best season of his career. And by the numbers, it was close, especially considering he wasn't working with quite the same amount of talent he had in Los Angeles. And here, even though I think Ben Johnson is a brilliant offensive mind, he didn't have as much cachet as like a Sean McVay did in Los Angeles. So I just think it's still a little bit of cognitive dissonance. And I think some people, And I also, if I'm being honest, even though it wasn't Jared Goff and the offense's fault, they didn't make the playoffs. And I think that's jarring, because if they would have, I think that maybe
the sentiment would be different.
I think it might be different. And of course, hey, we look at this NFC, maybe they could have won a game. I don't know if they would have went to San Francisco and won with a healthy Brock Purdy, but they would have made it interesting. They were trending up, but they didn't quite get in. Not Jared Goff's fault, though, at all.
But that's what you just said is the key. That's what I was going to say. You have to win. Regardless, you have to win. You can put up the numbers. You can have your best season that you've ever had. If you don't win, then everybody still has that little skeptical part about you. Hey, yeah, he had a good season. He put up numbers, but what do they mean? Your numbers have to mean something, and that's just the reality of it.
Right.
What's the quarterback we had before Goff was here had outstanding numbers. His numbers were phenomenal. Didn't win. What did everybody say? Got to get a quarterback, right?
Yeah.
Got to get a quarterback. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you go somewhere and you win, it means more. It's just that's sports.
WoodwardSports.com chat thread, Big Dan Davis. Former Lions running back Kevin Smith is on the list of candidates to replace Duce Stanley as a running backs coach. You remember Kevin Smith, right? He had a 2,500-yard season in college, Central Florida.
Yeah.
I was big on him.
I remember Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny. I think that the Lions are maybe trying to keep the whole former player thing, taking out Duce Stanley, bringing in Kevin Smith. I don't know anything about him as a coach, but it seems...
Well, here's why I ride with that. And Lindsey, it's good that you're here right now as an NBA coach, as a college head coach. Here's the thing with Kevin Smith, why it works for me. Was a player, right? NFL player, played in the Canadian Football League. Winnipeg Blue Bombers, stand up. They were part of the Get Right, that historical run of the Get Right. By the way, my apologies on the Brock Purdy interception thing. Can't handicap injuries, ma'am. No one was more crushed than me. So we fall to 33-14, right, Sam Flannel?
That is still an outer space level record.
I know. We're down, I think we're like 2-3 in the last 5, though. So that's a bit concerning. But I told you guys, it was you can't sustain that pace. But anyway, though, I digress. Here's why it matters to me, Lindsey, and feel free to chime in here. Kevin Smith plays in the NFL, then plays in the CFL. Then shows up at UCF in 2015 as a coaching intern. Starts at the bottom.
Yep.
That's the absolute bottom, an intern, which, he was a pro athlete. He can afford to do that. It doesn't matter. He started at the bottom.
Right.
That's what people do all the time.
Right.
2016, quality control administrator. Then was a running backs coach for 3 seasons at Florida Atlantic when Lane Kiffin was there. Then the Ole Miss running backs coach to 2021. Then with Miami as a running back coach there. So when guys, we're not talking about Roy Williams, whose first ever job was at Kansas. You know what I'm saying? He's been in the guts of it before.
Right.
At the bottom. Does that mean anything to you?
Well, I think it does. I also kind of feel a certain way when a guy with his experience has to do it that way.
Right.
Because I feel like he's earned the right. And I'm not saying he should have gotten a Roy Williams situation, but I think going through what he went through being a player, he earned the right to have a solid position in the beginning. And I'm not saying a head position, but a solid position to get his start. I remember me scouting. Now I did it kind of the same way. I was scouting games when I first got in the door, $300 a game. But I wanted to prove that this is something I genuinely wanted to do.
Right.
And I worked my way up. And unfortunately for a lot of pro athletes, we get a bad rap when we start to coach, when we start getting into the coaching realms, football or basketball, that we don't want to work. But a lot of us, like Kevin Smith, will do those jobs because that's how we were brought up. That's how, I didn't go to North Carolina. I didn't go to Duke. I didn't have 10 pair of tennis shoes in college.
Yeah, you had your one that you rolled out with.
We didn't fly everywhere. We took a bus.
Yes.
So we stayed at Motel 6 where they leave the light on for you.
Yeah.
So I understand what it means to, work your way up, and I had no problem with that. But I respect guys that do that. But I think a lot of times as a pro athlete, you get kind of pigeonholed as, hey, you got to make sure he wants to work, and that's, I hate that. I hate that.
That's a great perspective from you, Lindsey, because when it comes to Kevin Smith, I mean, he achieved heights that a fraction of people, and even high school football players will get to, being an NFL football player.
Right.
He had a pretty good rookie year, by the way, almost 1,000 yards.
I got his jersey, by the way.
Hey, he was trending towards being a good Detroit Lion, but he realized if he wanted to get into coaching, he had to start at the bottom. Going from the NFL to starting at the bottom at something, that has to be tough. An intern, that's almost below the bottom, but he's worked his way up. And I'm glad you kind of gave me that perspective, because now I feel better about the prospect of Kevin Smith, because unfortunately athletes, I think they do get the bad rap that they get handed things even after they retire.
And no one talks about Roy Williams, who walks in the door, dude. First job's at Kansas. Right. First job's coach at Kansas.
But Roy Williams, I mean, he's, in hindsight, delivered.
At Kansas and North Carolina.
It's not hard to deliver at Kansas.
Hey, but not everyone wins a national championship. That is a 64-68 team tournament.
And no one knows more than you, being a fan of a Big Ten school.
Yep. That's
everyone
factual.
wins a championship. In fact, they rarely do.
That's fact. How many times have they been second? I know Michigan twice, Wisconsin once. I don't know how many times State has it.
Yeah, that's right, because nobody knows how many times people come in second.
Yeah. No, I can't dispute that. I can't refute that at all. I want to, but I can't.
No. If Cousins' main lobster truck was outside, I would not dispute that either. I would smash a lobster roll.
I would smash a lobster roll. We did when they came down. That was one of the best days of the year, because Woodward Sports is brought to you by Cousins Maine Lobster Detroit. Check out their food trucks rolling around the city, offering the tastiest lobster rolls, lobster tacos, and more. Go to Cousins Maine Lobster or .com and search locations to find out the Detroit schedule, or download the app to order ahead and earn points. It's Cousins Maine Lobster.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1. What's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2. Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3. Bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
It's a great day to get some Centron in your life. Okay. There it is. Centron, here we go. Gotta grab the cranberry. Oh wait, it's 2 for $4. Gotta double up with the classic as well. Centron World, baby. Centron, available at select Krogers, and if you wanna know how, go to @CentronWorld.com. You can get dope like me. You know what? Why wait? Great taste, guaranteed.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
It's a new year. Let Guardian Alarm offer you customized solutions from real experts. Our professional technicians take the time to recommend security and automation and solutions specific to your words. 24/7 professional monitoring. Call them at 1-800-STAY-OUT. Call us anytime, day or night, and know that a Guardian team member will stay on the phone as long as needed. Technology backed by people. And the number, again, is 1-800-STAY-OUT. Your safety and security deserves technology that's been proven to work and people who've been proven to care. Call 1-800-STAY-OUT and let Guardian Alarm be part of your everyday life.
You're Ruhl here for the Monroe Street Midway. And the Monroe Street Midway Minute, you guys know what's going on downtown. That chill is in the air. So, hey, they got you covered. If you're soft like me and you don't like that really cold air, Lindsey and I were talking about it. It was burning my face this morning. That's enough. But, hey, the Monroe Street Midway is still in play for you. They have the heated tents down there. You can get out there. You can have a couple drinks. You know, we were talking about bourbon earlier. That is in play as well for the Monroe Street Midway. They got a ton of stuff to do, too. The winter bumper cars for the kids, the Arctic Slide, the Midway Arcade, and the food. It slaps down there. There's no doubt about it. Homemade chili, pierogies, chicken sandwiches, mac and cheese bites. There's gluten-free options. There's vegan options as well. So it's all down there for you. Go to deckedoutdetroit.com for more information. And hang out on Monroe Street Midway. Here we go. Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. Neal Ruhl, Lindsey Hunter, Sam Flannel, JB Smoove here in the house. And we're just chopping it up and Easy's propagating his foolishness and talking about quarterback salary cap hits last year. And, it's funny. Easy, Aaron Rodgers had a $1.1 million base salary last year, Easy. I know what his cap hit was. He made $42 million in cash. They're going to pay for that at some point. So there's that. I know this concept is hard for you to understand. I know it's hard for you to get. But he did make $42 million in cash last year as that signing bonus, which will accelerate on the cap the moment they trade him this year, which is why they're destroyed. So that's a little advanced for you, Easy. I get it. But stick to it, buddy. Keep trying, man. But yeah, we're cutting it up here. My guy, Lindsey, Spencer Raxter, away on court business. We're going to see if he walks on these charges. I don't know if he's got the dream team defense attorneys or what. Alicia says, is it time for Ask Lindsey yet? 23 minutes. Extended version. The people want to fire away questions, man. I'm excited for it, though. It is. It's going to be a lot of fun, though. We got a little Lions nickel package, right? Impromptu Lions nickel package. Sam Flannel, you capable of pulling that off? What do you think?
100%. I have got it right here. All right, so question number 1. Where does Goff rank among quarterbacks in Lions history?
This is going to be stunning and shocking to hear, but he's only the 3rd Pro Bowler ever. Let that sink in for a minute.
What are we talking? Bobby Lane, Matthew Stafford, Jared Goff?
And Staff only went, once, right?
Yeah, but he deserved to go more.
Yeah, he did. Staff was a monster.
He didn't go the season where he had 41 touchdown passes. That's a little crazy.
Exactly. So, he's higher than you think. Is that safe to say? Yes. That season alone, just off that season alone, that's got to be the 3rd best season that a Lions quarterback's ever had, which, isn't a celebration.
Scott Mitchell?
Scott Mitchell should have been a Pro Bowler, too. Go back and look at that, by the way. 1995, Steve Young got in with 19 touchdown passes and 8 picks or something. It was crazy. I actually did the research for a story in the Detroit Free Press when I worked there. Scott Mitchell got robbed.
Let me see.
He got robbed.
I'm looking up 1995.
So, it's up there. Lindsey, the moral of my story is it's better than you think it is.
No, I believe that. Because, look how hard it is for us to name other quarterbacks that had great seasons.
You got to go back, man.
Yeah.
Dan Orlowski.
Yeah, Steve Young had 20 touchdowns and 11 picks that year, and I believe Scott Mitchell had 32 and 12, something like that.
Yes, it was criminal that Scott Mitchell didn't get the Pro Bowl.
He was still on the high from that 1994 Super Bowl season, I think.
Yeah, no, absolutely, it was criminal. It's I would say top 3, though, which is sad to say in kind of a way. It's sad to say, but whatever. Second down.
Yes, second down. I think this is a very interesting question. Who leads the Detroit Lions in interceptions next year?
I think Kirby Joseph will lead them in interceptions going forward. And I don't know what it is, and maybe you can make the comp for me. Lindsey, I don't understand how the football just finds him.
Certain guys are like that, man. Certain guys, you watch certain defensive backs that just have a magnet to the ball, man. Ed Reed, he's a safety, but Ed Reed was like that. No matter what happened, it could be a deflection. Ed Reed would find himself right there where the football was. And there's certain guys that have that knack.
Yeah. No, and honestly, when you look at last year, Kirby Joseph led the team with 4, and the second highest was Aiden Hutchinson with 3. No other defensive back had more than 1. I don't see on this Detroit Lions team a bunch of DBs who are ball hawks, except for Kirby Joseph. I think this one is actually very, very easy, and it's going to be Kirby Joseph going away. He's that ball hawk and safety. All right, third down. Are you comfortable with re-signing Alex Anzalone, or should the Lions target a linebacker in free agency?
Both. like survey the scene and see what you can do. But we went through this. So the linebacker core of free agency is pretty limited. I would say Anzalone's another one that was a discount to market. Believe it or not, which is crazy to say. And it goes back to Terry Foster's point. You need a white guy with long blonde hair on your team. He checks that box too. And he produced for what he paid, which was next to enough. He produced, man, over 100 tackles, Lindsey. I mean, I know everyone likes to hate on him, but again, being a resume guy, the resume says he was a 100-plus tackle guy. So, yeah, ride with them, man.
Yeah, you have to, especially if you get a bargain. And you know, you never know. He may develop and be better next year. He may get better. You know, you just don't know.
Mark Royal in the WoodwardSports.com chat thread in cap says, no thanks on Anzalone. Based on what?
Right.
Like, what's your reasoning for that?
And to get good linebackers is tough. It's hard to find good linebackers.
Yeah, there is no middle class with linebackers, I've noticed. Dudes make 20 or they make 8.
Right.
Like, that's the way that it is.
Remember how I mentioned cognitive dissonance earlier when it comes to Jared Goff? I think a lot of it is with Alex Anzalone. He was bad for most of his career, or mid at best. Right. And at the beginning of the season, the Lions' defense was so bad. But when you look at last year, Alex Anzalone had the best season of his career by far. He not only had 100 tackles, he had 125.
Wow. Yeah, 125. And like the DLine.com says Anzalone is mid. Yeah, so is his salary.
Yeah, I mean, he's not a top-end linebacker. He's not like a Roquan Smith or a Fred Warner, but he's not trash. He's very, very serviceable. And last season, he was the best linebacker on the team. I thought it was Malcolm Rodriguez for a while, but at the end of the day, the numbers will say it was Alex Anzalone, and you can get him for cheap.
And for the people that, you know, kind of share that opinion, for the Easies of the world and stuff like that, here's the key in today's day and age. Do they outperform what you pay them?
Exactly.
That's it. That's all. This has as much to do with math as it does with talent or anything else. Do they outperform what you pay them? Did Alex Anzalone outperform what he was paid last year?
Oh, 100%.
125 tackles says yes.
Yes.
And there's no debate there. It was, $2 million last year, whatever it was? That's laughable returns.
Right.
That's a laughable return on investment. And again, Mark Royal in all cap, he was trash at the beginning of the year and the year before. Okay. But when the dust settled, he had 125 tackles for you for $2 million. Name a better value.
Yep, and the defense played very, very well for the last 10 games, for a 10-game sample size. And Alex Anzalone was the captain. He was the tackling machine linebacker. So
Paul Thomas says Anzalone greater than Fabio. I won't go that far.
Yeah, I don't care about the long blonde hair stuff. I just care about the fact he had 125 tackles. But anywho, 4th down. This is an over-under that Spencer Raxter put for Lions wins next year. 10.5. Are you going over or under?
You know, it's funny because I kind of laugh at us as a collective, like Lions fans, how we're not comfortable with, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're not comfortable with coaches, like, going, you're like, oh, how can you leave? Well, that's how it works when you got good teams. And then, like, with it, we talk about guys who provide value, and like, oh, well, he stinks. Well, he didn't cost anything.
Right.
This is another example of it, and this one I'm falling into. I'm uncomfortable with Sam Flannel saying, over-under Lions wins next year, 10.5. I'm uncomfortable with saying over. Not based on data, not based on what I saw this year, not based on Brad Holmes, not based on the coach, not based on the quarterback. I'm just uncomfortable with it. And it's going to take me a minute, Lindsey. It's going to take me a minute. I'm conditioned to say under. I can't even bring myself to say over.
Of course. But I do know a lot of Lions fans who would go over.
No doubt.
Yeah. I'm going to go over. I'm going to go over.
If I had to bet one of the furnaces, I would bet it on the over. I believe. That road schedule does scare me a little bit. I'm not going to lie. But the home schedule is pretty mid. It's almost like a Michigan football schedule that they have, except they have to play road games.
Hey, I'll tell you what. The Lions' home schedule, you could be looking at a 7-1, 6-2, maybe even undefeated home schedule. The road schedule is a little rough, but you have to say over. Obviously, with what they did last year, 9 wins. They could have easily won 10 or 11. They didn't. But this year, we're all talking about them being a playoff team. We're talking about them being a division winner. And by
if
definition,
you got to be over 10.5.
You got to be over 10.5. I mean, 11 wins, that doesn't even seem like that big of a leap. Although, it is kind of amazing that we're already having these expectations ahead of schedule. It feels weird, but you got to embrace it. With good teams,
I know.
Yeah, you got to embrace it.
It's going to take me a minute. That's the one. Everybody else has had their hang-ups, like cognitive dissonance. That's exactly what I have with that. Everybody else can do it, but when I do it, I'm the problem.
You're a little more hardened of a Lions fan than I am. We've had a couple of years on me, so I get it. I'm not going to kill you for that. But anywho, last down, 5th down. Over under for starters that Brad Holmes pulls out of this year's draft. 3.5.
That's aggressive, man. That's aggressive. How many? Let me see. Real quick. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 picks. Oof. Even me, it's not normal what Brad Holmes has done, everybody. Right. I know that we've accepted it as normal. This isn't normal what he did in last year's draft. It's not normal what he's done so far. It can't continue. At 3.5, no, it's going to be under 3.5. Come on, you guys. Let's get realistic here. This is exactly like you're a football handicapper and you went 10-0. And everyone jumps on it, and then you get one wrong, and everybody's like, "Oh, you suck! You're 10-1. Right. You suck." You can't expect this kind of hit rate, Lindsey, to continue because 3's a loser. If you pluck 3 starters out of a draft, that's goated. My son would say it's goated on the sticks if you do that, man. But Lindsey, come on, Lindsey.
It'll be
Don't
tough.
say it, Lindsey.
No. It'll be tough for him to get 3 starters after hitting the home run the way he did, last season. But if he does, that means you're upgrading somewhere, right?
Yeah.
So maybe he does. Maybe he pulls another, couple of rabbits out of his hat.
Yeah, four starters is definitely. I mean, that's
aggressive.
But they also have the 6 and 18 overall pick, 5 out of the first 80 or 90 or something like that. So it's not outside the realm of possibility. But even if he doesn't, like Neal said,
all right. Here's the kicker.
Yeah.
I will say over if he takes Jake Moody because that'll be a starter.
That'll be instant.
And I told you guys, I'm fully prepared to overdraft Jake Moody.
Yep.
I'm fully prepared because I'm in this business too, Lindsey. When I do these fantasy drafts or mock drafts, for me, I draft him. That's a check. That's a box check for 10 years.
Right.
It's like Penei Sewell. When they took Penei Sewell, I know a lot of people were questioning that. You draft Penei Sewell, that's a starter for 10 years.
Right.
Good day. Right. We're done with that. We'll never have to worry about it. When I draft Jake Moody, check. Kickers handled. 8 to 10 years, never have to worry about it again. And it goes from position of weakness to a position of strength overnight. So I'm fully prepared to overdraft. And I've gone through the lineage. Kickers go higher than you think. Good kickers go higher than you think they do.
And Jake Moody is one of the best college kickers I've ever seen. He's accurate as hell. But what if he gets maybe 3 starters, but Josh Pascal and Jamison Williams from last year develop into starters? That could happen as well. So no matter what, I think he's going to have a successful draft. But like you said, 4 starters. That's outer space level if you can do it consistently. But hey, I wouldn't necessarily bet against him.
It's aggressive. Can we agree it's aggressive?
Absolutely.
Okay, that's
Absolutely.
all. And we can agree that winter times in Detroit is better with comfort foods from Big Boy. I know we can all agree on that. The classic meatloaf, that's a banger. Spenmo, after he beats his case, he's going to go to Big Boy and dig into some classic meatloaf. Or Cajun chicken Alfredo, whatever he wants to do. What about the breakfast? The stuffed potato pancakes are back. The Lumberjack, the Santa Fe Garden, or the Blockbuster. Stop by your local Big Boy today.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Golf, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
When it comes to making your haircut truly an experience, there's no better place than Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Come to any one of our 26 Metro Detroit locations for an award-winning haircut experience and qualify for a chance to win a down payment for your dream home up to $200,000. Our precision haircut and talented stylists will have you looking good, feeling good, and give you a chance to change your life forever. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
3 NBA championships. Detroit fans were there. 11 Stanley Cups. Detroit fans were there. 4 World Series wins. Detroit fans were there. And that one Lions playoff win in 1991. Yeah, Detroit fans were there. Woodward Sports, where the fans are.
Neal Ruhl here for Chili Peppers Tanning, where you find the cleanest salons in the D with spotless, sanitized tanning rooms and trained and certified tanning professionals. Join the Pepper Club. Get all the best deals. They beat the competitors' prices by at least $5. You can pick up the Australian Gold, Designer Skin, Caltan, and Swedish Beauty lotions as well. 27 locations, more on the way. Go to chilipepperstanning.com. Find out which one works best for you. Chili Peppers Tanning, the hottest bulbs, the hottest deals, the darkest tans. They are your vitamin D headquarters. Get to Chili Peppers Tanning today. Back at it, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network, Neal Ruhl, Lindsey Hunter, Sam Flannel, JB Smoove in the house, Spenmo Rackster. His freedom is at stake as he's at court today fighting a traffic ticket. I'm kidding. His freedom is... Oh, I don't know. If he gets unruly, who knows what happens? I can't discuss that. Here's a nifty little one that Spenmo came up with. It could be his last show sheet before he goes away for a very long time. Who knows? This is a cool one, and I'm curious to get your take on it. The going to work Pistons, which you're familiar with, as you were one of those that went to work with the Pistons.
Right.
If you could add one player from the going to work Pistons team to this year's Pistons team, who would it be?
Ooh, tough.
And why is it Lindsey Hunter? No, I'm just playing.
If I could add one player to this young team.
This young team right now, what do you think would be the maximum impact from the going to work Pistons? And it's across the board. Whichever one, and I'm curious to get your answer on it. I'm curious to get the people's answer on it too.
Man, that's tough. Let me see. Chauncey's too much of a politician. Rip only cares about Rip scoring.
And it's a mid-range game. It doesn't really, we're 18 years on from that.
It would be two guys that I think would be good for him because they would be willing to teach, and that would be Tayshaun and Ben. Either one of those guys, because they would be willing to teach the young guys and help them.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting because Tayshaun didn't really figure into my equation. However, a 3, right?
Yep.
Could guard a 4.
Yep. Could guard twos.
Can guard a 2.
Ones.
Very, very versatile defensively.
Mm-hmm.
If you put him with Cade Cunningham, you have a lot of options.
Yep.
I'm really and we're in that day and age, right, where the Ben Wallace thing would play again because of the defender he is, because of the rebounder he is. You still value rebounding the basketball. That hasn't changed. When shots go up, you need to pull them off the rim. I would think from a versatility standpoint, but I think with Jalen Duren, you know what I'm saying? Like you kind of have that angle covered. Not yet, not this Jalen Duren, not 19-year-old Jalen Duren.
Yeah, in the future.
But 22-year-old Jalen Duren, yes, entering that prime. You open my eyes to that one, Lindsey. I think Tayshaun would be the best fit for this team.
Yeah, I think he would be, and he's he doesn't seem like the most vocal guy, but he actually was. Tay talked a lot. In a lot.
Really?
That
goes against the perceived persona.
Right. I mean, he's assistant GM in Memphis right now, so he's doing his thing. But Tay was always a great teammate, knowledgeable, especially defensively. Offensively, he was better than he got credit for. But he would be great in that situation.
Yeah, and you kind of swayed me on that. And Chuck Brewer, apparently I'm not alone. Chuck Brewer says Lindsey just made a very solid argument. Rack says, you mean you guys aren't adding Darko? Hey, he was 10-7 for a year at Minnesota and got a $20 million. He's not this bust that everybody said. I'll die on this hill, man.
Well, the problem with being a top, 2 pick
when you're surrounded with those people he was surrounded by.
Possibly the best draft class ever. That's what you're being measured up against. You're being measured up against first ballot Hall of Famers. You got Bron, you got Wade, Melo, Bosh. Those guys are first ballot Hall of Famers, right?
No question. And look, it always turns into this with me because I do draw a sword when people say that Darko was the biggest bust of all time and things like that. He wasn't.
No.
He wasn't the biggest bust ever.
No.
Minnesota Timberwolves gave him a $20 million contract.
Right.
And again, he was a 10-7 guy for them. You're not a 10-7 guy in this league being the worst player that's ever played in this league.
Right.
Like, that's just the way that it is.
But most of the guys that they consider bust were guys that were injured.
Right.
You know.
Except for Michael Olakande.
Yeah. He was a number 1 pick, wasn't he?
Yeah. Now, if you wanted to go down that road, you know, the guy couldn't play. Like that, you know, that was it.
But he still, what the dude averaged, he almost was a double-double.
Really, I'd have to look back at that.
Look.
Maybe I'm falling victim to the same thing. I'm being critical of other people
doing. He almost was a double guy. But people, when you're drafted that high, it's you know, people criticize differently.
KP from 3, Anthony Bennett. Yes,
he's the biggest bust ever.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yes.
There you go.
Thank you, KP from 3. I haven't noticed you in here, by the way. Welcome. If this is the first time
Anthony
watching,
Bennett.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I had a guy, one of my buddies who worked at Golden State with me. He was a Anthony Bennett fanatic, and because we would argue, and he was, "Oh, I'm telling you, Anthony Bennett is." I was like, "Man, I'm watching him at UNLV. He's okay, you know." I'm like, to be that size and not have a motor, you'd have to be the most skilled guy ever. You have to be Rudy Gay.
Right.
He wasn't Rudy Gay. You know?
Yeah. People forget about Rudy Gay, too.
Oh, no. Rudy Gay's one of the most skilled players. You could easily say Rudy Gay could have been a top 1 or 2 pick. And he didn't have a motor, but he could survive in the league because of his skill.
Right.
So good.
Right.
You know?
It's interesting. You've converted some of the people on the whole Tayshaun Prince front. So, you know, and it is. You converted me on that too. And that was pretty much Ben Wallace, as you figured, might have been the people's choice, I guess you could say. That was the one that people really leaned towards. It's interesting too. Again, just that versatility that he would bring defensively. I think he would fit. Tayshaun Prince would fit today's game the best.
Absolutely.
Out of that whole team.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Wow. Okay. All right. I'm making some solid points there. So I will take that. What do you got, Sam Flannel? And why is it not Ben Wallace?
So it's weird because, Lindsey, you kind of converted me a little bit because my first answer was to say Rasheed Wallace, and that's because I think he's a guy that we all kind of look at as a little bit ahead of his time, was a little bit of a stretch before stretch was even a thing. But I don't know if I would want him to be sort of the leader of a young, losing Pistons team. I don't think he would handle that very well. I think he sort of matured as a player when he came to that veteran Pistons team that was well coached with Larry Brown, had a ton of veterans. Although people did forget, he helped lead the Trailblazers to almost a finals appearance. But I digress. Tayshaun, though, you're right. He's a versatile defender. He's long. He's a better three-point shooter than people give him credit for. I think in this modern NBA on this Pistons team, he could maybe average 20 points a game. I don't think that's outside the realm of possibility.
In his prime, yeah, definitely.
And I would probably go with, just almost by process of elimination otherwise, I would probably go with Tayshaun as well.
Pete Smith says Adam Morrison, bigger bust than Darko. That's factual.
Yeah, Adam Morrison was pretty bad. But that's a weird hill to die on, Darko Milicic. When he was with the Pistons, he was the human victory cigar. I think that's all people here care about.
Where was he going to play?
I get that, but I think that's all people here really care about.
Yeah,
he could have got more minutes than one off the bench during a blowout. Come on, that's not
the way it works when you're a winning team, man. When you're a championship caliber team, you're not out there developing people. You're about winning games.
I know, but that's a weird hill to die on.
Lindsey, tell this man.
Larry Brown was not going to play him.
That's it. That's all, man. It just wasn't going to happen that way. Ask Lindsey when we come back. So go ahead. You guys have been dying for it all day. We're going to do an extended version of Ask Lindsey after Sam Flannel tells you about Swiss Insurance.
All right. Swiss Insurance. Be sure to check with Swiss Insurance this week for your commercial insurance review. Many businesses choose a January 1st effective date. Swiss can help make sure you have the proper coverage. Swiss Insurance. Give us a shot and you won't be disappointed. Or email them at mark@swissins.com. That is mark@swissins.com.
We aren't quite sure if they consume more beer or sports. Either way, the heavyweights are here. Live on Woodward Sports, daily 5 to 7 p.m.
By now you know me, Christina Gennari, as the obvious choice in real estate. And you know my website, soldchristina.com, as your #1 resource for buying or selling your home. Myself, along with my amazing staff, pride ourselves on making your home buying and selling experience a relaxing and easy one. Come see why we are the obvious choice. Christina Gennari at soldchristina.com, the obvious choice in real estate.
3 NBA championships. Detroit fans were there. 11 Stanley Cups. Detroit fans were there. 4 World Series wins. Detroit fans were there. And that one Lions playoff win in 1991. Yeah, Detroit fans were there. Woodward Sports, where the fans are.
Back at it, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. Yeah, that's it. Neal Ruhl, Lindsey Hunter here, Sam Flannel. We got JB Smoove on the 1s and 2s. It's time. Extended version of Ask Lindsey. Lindsey, the people have clamored for it. You play ball with it. You know, you speak truth out there when you're talking about it. Real quick, though, before we get into that, Jake Wegener, WoodwardSports.com chat thread. Quote, that's a weird hill to die on. From the guy whose grave is on Ben Wallace isn't a Hall of Famer and Brady was lucky. LMAO. That is true.
We all have our hills.
Yeah, we absolutely do. Let's get into it. Lindsey, you ready to go, man?
I'm ready.
All right. Pete Smith, Ask Lindsey, and I love this one. Who was the first NBA player to cook you?
Man. And it's crazy because we all remember. Like, I remember. So we're playing the Clippers, right? I'm a rookie. Pooh Richardson was murdering me. I was like, who is this guy? You know?
And Pooh Richardson was a solid veteran. You know, had a long NBA career.
Great college player.
Great college player.
Beast at UCLA.
Yeah,
remember?
Great college player. Very, very solid pro.
He was cooking me, man. I was like, I couldn't figure him out for a minute. I was like, went to the bench. Man, who is this guy?
What was he doing to you?
Man, just going by, like he was making moves on me. You know, how you don't know a person and you're like, okay, you know, whatever. After a while, I was like, okay, I gotta really like tighten up on this dude. This dude is killing me. And one of those nights, man. We all have them.
Were you questioning everything at that time? You're like, man, is this league like this?
No, yeah. I was like, you know what? You can't take anybody for granted in this league, dude. You get cooked.
It was funny. I was interviewing Kay Felder after his couple years in the NBA, and I didn't ask him like that. I was like what's your biggest takeaway 2 years into the NBA? And he said, Neal, he goes, we go on a road trip, and I got to check James Harden. And then the next night we fly to Oklahoma City, and I got to check Russell Westbrook. And then you go down the list, and Kyrie's out. He's like, you never, ever get a break, ever.
No. Dude, I remember a stretch. We were playing. We played the Knicks one night. I had Allen Houston, Latrell Sprewell. We went to Indiana. I had Reggie.
Yeah.
We went to L.A., and it was Kobe. We went to Milwaukee, and it was Ray.
All in a row.
All in a row. I was like, yo, this is crazy. And that's when they were putting me on the 2 guards.
Yeah.
So I was like, dude, this is crazy. So,
WoodwardSports.com chat thread. Ask Lindsey here on Mark M. Who was better, Fear the Fro Ben or Braids Ben?
The Fro Ben, because he became a superhero when he put the Fro out.
Yep, that is true. Was able to check Shaq and everything. Paul Thomas, Ask Lindsey, would you have liked to play for Chuck Daly, seeing you just missed his tenure with the Pistons?
Absolutely. Loved Chuck Daly, man. He actually tried to draft me in Jersey.
Yeah?
They had like the 13th or 14th pick, and he wanted to draft me. Yep.
Yeah, it's you know what I liked about Chuck Daly? He coached the game, all of them the same. Like, they opened it up, and it was James Edwards. Always had 12 every first quarter.
Yep.
Then Vinny in the second quarter would get, and Isaiah and Joe would get theirs, and Lambeer would get theirs throughout. But everybody had like a designated role, and every game was the same.
I loved his coaching style.
Yeah.
Loved it.
WoodwardSports.com chat there. We're doing Ask Lindsey right now. Steven Syrett says, Ask Lindsey, when you're named the Pistons coach in April, who will you call to be your assistants? That's not going to go down that way, is it, Lindsey? Well, who knows, right?
Hey, who knows?
Let me see here. Pistons fan 11, Ask Lindsey. You ever hear any of the behind-the-scenes stories about Pistons players who had beefs with John Kuster when he was here? Rumors are the players didn't like that guy.
I didn't hear rumors about the Kuster situation. I heard rumors about the Curry situation.
Yeah.
It was like a onslaught of war between the players and Mike Curry.
Yeah.
Actually, it was Rip and Curry, because Rip was benched for Allen Iverson, so Rip was up in arms about it.
Okay, let me see here. Ask Lindsey Hunter. Jeremy Anderson. Do NBA players really give a blank what the regular fans think they're Hall of Fame worthy, or more what people who actually play or played in the NBA think of them? I assume it's the latter, just curious.
Of course, the latter of the two.
Right.
People, you respect what your peers think about you.
Yep. Pete also asked, ask Lindsey, what NBA player were you most nervous playing in front of?
What do you mean in front of?
Like, just when you got on the court, you know what I'm saying? Like, who were you like, wow?
Oh, the only time I was like, wow, is when we played MJ, and I remember because we had a really good team when Doug was here. That I don't know, second year or whatever, but we beat the Bulls that year at home, and Doug was just ecstatic. Doug, he was almost in tears, like, "Oh, thank you guys," and we're like, "What? It's regular season. What are you talking about?" So one of the reporters, I guess, told MJ that Doug was, all happy and about to cry, and MJ sent a message back to our locker room. It said, "When they come to Chicago, I'm going to make sure he cries." And he gave us 50. And it was nothing we could do. It was like, I've never been on the court looking at another, the opposing guy, like, wow. And I remember Terry Mills, because I was coming to the bench shaking my head like, man, we getting murdered. And MJ went baseline and did something, and Terry was like, oh my God. But that was probably the only time.
Yeah. Let me see here. FJ 1967 asked Lindsey, what venue did you most look forward to playing at in the NBA? Like Madison Square, the Forum?
Madison Square Garden was always nice, man.
Yeah.
As raggedy as that place is, it was.
Yeah, that's pretty much the only building I haven't been to yet.
Oh, man.
And like everyone's like, oh, it's so awesome, but it sucks.
Yeah, it's locker room's terrible. It was. Man, when you go out on the court and the music starts blasting, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
I'm more of a Barclays Center style of guy than Madison Square Garden. That's just me, though. That's just me. John Mayer, this is a good one. Are you still in awe about Tayshaun's block against Indiana? I know I am. I still get goosebumps every time I see it.
Absolutely. It was, man, it was surreal. Like, you're sitting there, you watch, and you see Reggie with the layup, and all of a sudden you see Tay coming to the screen and block him. It was amazing. And people don't give Rip a lot of credit because he saved the basketball after Tay.
No, nobody ever thinks about that.
Rip's actually saved it, which, secured the win for us.
That was wild. That
was crazy, wasn't it?
That is a great example, too. You talk about people forgetting. That's one of the better examples of how thin the line is of winning a champ. Even the Bulls, right? Like, even the Bulls, when they played the Sonics, there were moments. There were close games at Chicago Stadium that they ended up winning and everything. But there are moments, man, where if that doesn't happen, you guys probably don't win the championship. You probably don't.
Nope.
That's how thin the line is. And we talk about it in absolutes. People like Sam sit up here and talk about it in absolutes, like the line isn't that thin.
Well, Sam thinks it's all luck.
Right.
No, I'm actually happy as hell if that happened to Reggie Miller of all people. Talk about overrated. We've talked about. Did you guys know that he's only made the All-NBA third team 3 times, never an All-NBA second team, never an All-NBA first team, and he has lifetime averages of 18, 3, and 3. So I'm happy that it happened to him.
Low key, Lindsey. Low key. Sam Flannel and I kind of vibe on this a little bit. Like, the legend of Reggie Miller is more than the resume of Reggie Miller. It's more than the resume of Reggie Miller.
No,
and I get it.
But you got to look at the era he played in, and there were dudes ahead of him.
100%.
You had MJ.
I know, but people talk about that Michael Jordan stopped Reggie Miller from getting titles. Get the F out of here. Reggie Miller wasn't ever going to win anything. I'm not a fan.
No, they had teams that could have won titles.
Teams,
man.
The Davis brothers and Mark Jackson, Rick Smits. I get it.
My man, Rick Smits. I was a big Rick Smits guy.
Dutchman.
Yeah, I was a big Rick Smits guy. It always seemed like they were going to Game 5 against the Hawks every year, though, didn't it?
But why do you think? I'm trying to get it. Why do you guys think Reggie's overrated?
The resume, 18-3-3. Never an All NBA first teamer. All that kind of stuff. Great shooter, obviously. Great shooter. But he was the original 3-and-D guy without so much the D.
Yeah, but Reggie was much like he was their system. Like everything ran off of him.
And it was just good enough to get to a conference finals.
Well, look who he was playing against.
No doubt. That's fair.
But
which is all the more example of why Isaiah Thomas is greater than people give him credit for.
No, I don't think Isaiah Thomas doesn't get the credit he deserves.
See, I do.
No, I don't think so.
I think that.
When I talk to basketball people, there's not one other person that I can talk to that doesn't think Isaiah is like the guy. We all think he's the guy. He's the standard to, small guards. But this Reggie thing, man, that's kind of weird. I think Reggie's great. I think, Well,
let me ask you this, Lindsey, because you played with him. Your careers overlapped. Was he ever looked at as a superstar, or was he just looked at as kind of a regular star, pretty good?
Was he a Dominique Wilkins?
That's probably a good comp because Dominique was awesome, always a great scorer, but never, could get over the top.
Right.
Reggie was similar.
I would put Dominique in a different, way above.
Dominique's better because Dominique could flat out score the basketball.
Right.
But man, Reggie was. I think you guys aren't giving him the credit he deserves. He was better than I think. Just like
Rack says, Cheryl Miller greater than Reggie Miller.
That might be true, though.
That's real talk. We'll wrap this up when we come back. Let me tell you, Planet Fitness, the official studio sponsor of Woodward Sports and home of the judgment-free zone, where you can work out for just $10 a month. Upgrade to the Black Card, get unlimited guest privileges, hydro massage, and more, and access to over 2,000 Planet Fitnesses around the world. Join today in club. You'll pass a couple on the way home. Pull in the parking lot. Do it there. Or jump on the computer. Go to planetfitness.com. It's Planet Fitness, where your fitness is essential.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Golf, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
For Detroit, by Detroiters. Welcome to the Woodward Sports Network.
Final segment of the show flying by here. Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network, Neal Ruhl, Lindsey Hunter here in the building, Sam Flannel, JB Smooth as well. WoodwardSports.com chat though. We're doing Ask Lindsey. Don Burr says, ask Lindsey, would you hoop in some Chuck Taylors today?
No way. No way. I've been in the hospital.
Did you have a shoe deal?
Yeah, when I first got,
Who'd you have?
Nike.
Nike? Oh, all right. I see you, Lindsey. Okay.
Yep. I was a Nike guy. They paid good back then.
They were making
don't pay anymore. No.
Yeah, they were making they only are loyal to the brands now.
Yes,
the Zions and the Kyries and the still the Kobe's and all that kind of stuff. Chuck Brewer says fans don't give Zeke credit, fellow players did. Well, I can think of one that didn't.
Who? Say it.
MJ doesn't give him credit.
Yes, he does.
No, he doesn't.
Yes, he does.
No, he doesn't.
Yes, he does.
He does that because he feels like he has to. That's why he says he doesn't really. In his heart of heart, he dismisses Isaiah Thomas.
No, he doesn't.
Then why do you angle him off the dream team then?
Are you sure it was him that angled him off?
Yes.
No, it wasn't.
Yes.
Nope. That's not true.
There's layers of insulation to it. He's the Don, okay? And the capos are going to take the heat for it because that's the way business works.
This is not mob ties, okay?
Oh, it's not? It feels like it is.
No, I think it was other guys that kept Zeke off, honestly. I really do.
Okay.
Because, if you don't remember...
You ever talk about it publicly or no? You don't have to.
I mean, I didn't have anything to do with it. Me and Zeke were great.
Yeah.
You know,
because I'd be curious to hear it. If you don't want to talk about publicly, I want to talk about publicly.
I think, like, because at the time, remember, Magic and Zeke weren't
they had a
seeing
fallout,
eye to eye. Pip didn't like him.
Well, nobody liked Pip either. Soft.
So I think a bunch of guys on that dream team probably was against it. I really do.
Why?
I don't know. He just didn't like Zeke.
But why? But why though? Like, because he was a competitor.
Yep.
That's so soft.
Cut your heart
bro.
out to win.
Right. So why don't you want him on your team?
I know. I would. I mean, but it's. I don't know, man. It was a lot going on back then. But I was very, very disappointed he wasn't on there.
Yeah.
And John Stockton was.
Bob's Big Boy, ask Lindsey. When LeBron scored 48 in Game 6 and scored 25 straight against the Pistons, did you get MJ vibes about him since he was only 22 years old at the time?
No, because we were playing zones and, rest in peace, Flip Saunders. But Flip didn't really care about the defensive end of the court as much as we did. And that was just a bad mix.
You guys had a difference in defensive philosophy, I take it.
Totally. When Big Ben comes out and we start playing zone, and he was like, the Fat Boys break up and now the Pistons playing zone. I've seen it all. That wasn't good, man. It wasn't good.
Yeah. So, man, it is crazy how many of these questions fly in here for Lindsey Hunter, man. Like, you guys, it's cool, dude, that you do this, man. That you sit there and you go through it. Real quick. Robert Horry better than Reggie Miller. That's laughable, isn't it?
Come on, man. Come on. Stop it.
I'll even co-sign that. Robert Horry was probably maybe the best role player of all time, but you can't put role player and then Hall of Fame in the same sentence.
Right.
Yeah. So the Chuck Taylor's one question was probably the best one. So yeah, that one was the best one to me. Ask Lindsey, would the 2004 team beat Golden State in a 7-game series?
Ooh, tough. Man, that's tough. It would go 7. But you got to think about it. What rules are we playing under? Are we playing under today's rules where you can't touch people, or are we playing under our rules where you can bang a little bit?
Well, since you're in the game, it's got to be by your rules, right?
But they're playing too, so what rules are we playing under? It would give them an advantage playing under...
This is Detroit, so we're playing... We're asking this question in Detroit, so we're playing 2004 rules.
If we're playing 2004 rules, we win. We win.
5, 6?
Yeah, we win in 6. If we couldn't touch them, they'd win in 7.
Really?
Yeah. If we couldn't touch them, think about it. How are we going to guard these guys?
Which team, though? Because there's a difference between the teams without KD and the teams with KD.
No, I'm saying with KD.
Wow. Because I think you guys would actually beat the KD-less Golden State Warriors in a 7-game.
No, we beat the KD Golden Warriors if we could put our hands on them.
But 2017, that might have been the greatest basketball NBA team of all time.
That's what you think. But if we could put our hands on them and we could be physical, we beat them. Because you saw what Boston did to KD in the playoffs last year, right?
Oh, here's a good one. Here's 2 good ones. I want to get to these. Andre says, ask Lindsey, teal or blue unis? You hate the teal, right?
Teal is... Come on, man. No. Never teal. Anything but teal. Anything but teal in those burgundy ones.
The burgundy ones were rough. I like the teal ones, but the burgundy ones were rough. There's no doubt. Mark Walston, when Grant Hill got signed and traded, what were the real feelings?
What do you mean? Like we were sad. Grant was one of those guys. Like you don't draft guys like that too often. he was one of those guys. Like, had he not gotten hurt, we wouldn't be talking. I think he would be that gap guy that LeBron would have to pass to get to Jordan. That's how good he was.
You think you all still would have won chips with Grant Hill?
Yes. Grant Hill, like, you can't say this about a lot of guys. He could be the best player on a championship team, bar none. Easily.
I was just hurt he wanted out. I was never able to get past that. He tapped out. He wanted out.
Well, it was a lot more to it.
Which I get. And I know, Lindsey. I know.
It was a lot more.
But
to it.
I was hurt that I felt like he tapped out.
No, he didn't tap out. He didn't tap out. It was a lot going on.
And you parlay that with the fact that the return for the trade won an NBA championship. So
yeah.
Both things can be true.
Exactly.
All right, we'll be back at it tomorrow. Appreciate everybody tapping in all the Ask Lindsey questions as well. So for Lindsey Hunter, for Sam Flannel, and for JB Smoove, free Spencer Raxter. This has been Big D Energy on Woodward Sports Network. Thanks for listening. Well, see you later.